What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, back again with another market watch. First, we're looking at Shanks, and of course, mangas are to the moon. But actually, someone literally just listed these here. It's $29 each, which isn't bad because the next lowest is 35. There's been a couple sales here at the 35 level for a while. But I believe Shanks has been on the rise, of course, being OP01, of course, being our GOAT. But then on top of that, this card is very strong in Red Purple Luffy, whereas in Japan and Asia, they had the 9-drop Newgate to boost your leader to 8, and then possibly 9 if you have an established Eustace. But we don't have that, so Shanks is a strong contender. I actually, Johnny, I believe his name is, a European player, just topped. He was not playing Shanks. He was opting for the 10-drop Luffy, which is also very strong. This is great on the 9 curve, though. You go at tier 8 Dawn turn, boom, ramp 1, bow, play him, super strong. And then, of course, the alt art. Last video, I highlighted the alternate art. Alternate art was up to about $60. It's sitting here about $50, so not a huge gap here. Of course, with this $29 listing, there is, but from $35 to $50 for an arguably way better art. Which, of course, this is one of my favorites. I would have said it was my favorite, but I did just get me a Serial Shanks, and it's hands down the most beautiful card I've ever seen in my entire life. And so that's not my favorite Shanks. But I bought a playset of these when I first started the game because I just refused to play this art. So there's that. But then, of course, we have the manga. And the mangas are going to the moon right now. I don't think there's any other better way to put it. You just look at this chart. It's absurd. There haven't been any sales anywhere near this level. I've seen a ton of people looking to sell. There's not a lot of sales like in between here, but the last near mint sale was $1,000. And then on like about a week ago, it was about $1,000 for a damaged one. I'm not sure if they realized they were buying a damaged one. But then, of course, we have Sabo. Sad I don't have one. Click the ads. Help me get some revenue so that way I can get me Manga Sabo. But he's in about 400. There's some completed sales. I see a lot of people trying to buy these around 360. I tried to buy one for around 220 when he first came out. Had no luck. Now it feels bad. So click the ads. Help me out. Thanks. And then, of course, I've mentioned this card over and over again, but again, like, it's super interesting because there was not this past CS in Asia, but the one before that, their championship series. The winner, I think, wasn't playing Borsellino, and the second place wasn't playing Kuzan, but Borsellino is sitting at a strong 30 some odd dollars. Sales at the 34 level, 29 previously, but the cheapest right now being 31-ish, 32, and you have to pay tax, so it's coming out to about 34. I picked one up when he was $8, haven't got another one since, so I probably just can't play Sakazuki. Maybe I just don't want to play Sakazuki. I don't want to play Sakazuki, but I might. You never know. You never know. He's kind of crazy, but hopefully, we get like a ban list or something that really helps that out. And then, of course, Kuzan, highlighting him once more. I believe the alt art on this has become pretty expensive, too. It just got bought out, but 25, again, you technically don't have to play these, so do be careful. And then, of course, here, there could be a ban list. You never really know. But again, nothing came for Newgate until, one set after his release, so that is the dangerous part of it all. If you want to play the deck, definitely just make sure you're not spending money you don't have. As always, don't buy any cards just like on speculation or whatnot. I highly encourage just to pick up things you either want to collect and that you love, or that you plan to play and that you of course have the funds to do so. And then, of course, another card I want to highlight is the 10-drop Kuzan. Cooled off a little bit. He was big in Rebecca, went up a bit. I picked one up around 20. Around like this level right here. But he's sitting at $38 right now. The alternate art, again, not too far off. So if you're like into max rarity / high rarity, might be worth picking up those instead of this, just because like the value difference, whereas the alts typically hold stronger than the regular ones. So something to consider there. But yeah, I think he has potential going into like OP06, OP05. So we'll see. It definitely doesn't hurt to have him. But at $40, he is kind of expensive. So if you have him, great. Maybe take him out of your binder. And then, of course, we want to talk about Nami, of course. Purple Luffy, my mortal enemy, losing to it in both last rounds. Of course, I got top 8, but just the other day at the Treasure Cup, I lost to Film Purple, and feels bad. But congrats to the winner. Of course, they got themselves the Shanks, which is always a great feeling. And then also the Zoro. And I bubbled out at 17th. However, this has become more popular. And then, of course, we have Uda going into OP05. Again, Uda comes out about February, so it's quite a ways away. And very deep into the OP05 format that in Asia is still heavily dominated by Sakazuki. But Katakuri making a comeback because it's good into Sakazuki. And Purple Luffy having come in second in the most recent championship series there. So super interesting to see as everyone just learns to play around it and, like, you know, how it really will shape and take form here in the States. But yeah, this card going to be useful next set if you want to play Uda. Sitting at $15. It peaked at around $20. People are also using other cards to combo with this. But just free value generation is crazy. It replaces itself and then goes +1 once you swing with it. So very powerful card. Definitely worth considering picking up. It might fade away at the start of next because we're in a weird format. So I highly discourage picking up anything that isn't going to be for OP05 format at this point. There aren't a ton of events left, and this is just a brief format. If you don't have a ton of funds, I would not spend any money on cards that I'm not going to play in my OP05 deck. Of course, like Purple Luffy, all those things, there are cards you can pick up now that you will be playing in that deck. I would highly encourage that. Or like, you know, Sakazuki. If I was coming into the game right now, that's where I would dedicate my funds. And I would just practice on the sim. And then, of course, the alternate art Nami sitting around $50. I think Luffy's also around $50. This card hit $25 when it first came out. It was like $200. It's just like the other Nami at OP02 Euphoria. But, of course, Paramount War is slowly rising in price just all across the board. The singles are rising, making the sealed rise, and there hasn't been any restock outside of the One Piece stores. So very interesting to see how these play out. I own 2 of these. I picked them up at around 25, which is what I thought the card was worth. I wouldn't buy this at 50, especially when I can get the regular ones at 15. But if you're in max rarity, you know, it might be worth picking up, and it could be great for the collection long run. And then, of course, one of the speculations for Trafalgar Law, the Red Purple Law, we've got Beppo sitting around $4, $5 after shipping. If you get lucky, you can get some free shipping with them. So I personally, like, it's a 2K, so pretty strong there. And then if you're playing like the Buena, you can search, but I don't think this card is relevant after this format. If you want to play Red Purple Law for the next few weeks, might be worth picking up one of these locally. But of course, December is right around the corner, and with that comes the new set. So be careful with that. Trafalgar Law on the rise here. He was actually down just a little bit, but a good number of sales here today as some people made some waves with Red Purple Law. This card hit $20 and then quickly came back down, but he is not really played after this format. So be careful if you're picking these up. If you want to play the Law, it is very fun. But definitely maybe try to just trade for these because these I don't see this holding any sort of value once set 5 drops. And then, of course, Trafalgar Law, OP01, very hype set, obviously. We all know the booster boxes have been rising in prices. This has increased in popularity, both in, like, Film Kid and in the Gurple. You can play this on 6, use the effect, swing Nami, use the effect, play him, bounce back Nami, play Nami. Or you can just swing 5, no effect, play Law, return Nami, play Nami, and then use the effect, and you get a Nami that cannot be attacked. So pretty good. I think if you have these, I would hold on to these. Obviously, you know, they did do a nice little reprint in the one set where he became like a special rare, so like you could pull it, but OP01 staples, like until they actually reprint it, which I could very well see, It seems like Bandai is very in tune with the community, so we can only hope. But then, of course, we have this Kaido. All my homies hate this Kaido. I lost this both times in Gurple. Very strong card, obviously. It essentially allows you to clear 2 characters if you do it right. It's sitting about $6. Again, it saw a huge spike, and it was about 9. But this card is getting reprinted, so be careful with getting these. I'm going to try to get rid of all of mine here soon just because I don't like this card anymore. And then, of course, just highlighting Eustace Captain Kidd, ton right here at $3. Again, you'll play this card in Uda. I started seeing him this weekend. A couple people were playing this weekend. Huge deal right here. 0% feedback, though, so no idea if it's actually true. A lot of people do those fake listings, but otherwise, $5, $6. Again, it's that OP01. If they reprint it, you know, we'll be in a good spot. But if not, these cards can really get out of hand, so maybe just worth having. And, of course, just wanted to highlight some of the new cards. You can buy these decks, or you can buy 4 of these for $20. And then, of course, there's, like, the Law. And you can buy these more expensive, of course, being very powerful. But if you just need these for your decks, I mean, it's kind of like buying 2 of the decks. Might just be worth buying the decks. But if you just want those, you can pick them up, or if you just need like one or the other for your deck, you know. But something to keep an eye on. These, of course, I think I bought a bunch of the 3 captains decks just because, like, all the purple stuff. You look at the Kaido deck, it's like $80 now. A lot of this stuff can age very well. I'm sure they printed an absolute ton of it, but you know, once formats start defining, old cards can come up, and it might just be worth having these staples. And then, of course, another card here. Will to Win Gaming played this Eustace in his Kinemon deck. This could be like semi-relevant during this format, slowly make a comeback, mostly because you can use the Dawn effect. You can swing, he's a blocker, and he's immune to Doflamingo just because he's going to set himself back as active, so it guarantees you a swinger. So slightly underrated. Again, some of these cards are just worth picking up. You can kind of see a little bit more sales here. Still like relatively cheap. If you never bought the green decks, it might just be a card worth having. And then, of course, Uda sitting at $25. I bought a bunch of these, and by a bunch, I mean 4 of these at $3. Way back over, like, here. But this card is very strong in Luffy right now. You can get a 9K Eustace. You can get a 7K, 8K leader using this by going Eustace, then play Uda. And boom, bam, and then all of your characters gain 1k into the next turn. So really just buffing up your board. Number of sales around this price range. But yeah, this card really has gone up in value. I don't think this card is that great after this format, truthfully. Unless if we don't get Ninebeard back. But yeah, definitely something worth, if you have it in your binders, definitely look to get rid of it possibly. Because $25 is a lot, and we were all pulling them like crazy, and nobody wanted them. And then, of course, we have Yamato. Yamato slowly on the rise here at $5. Was around $3, slowly making its way up. A big card in Inaru or Enel. And then, of course, in Queen as well. And then with the new Sanji, you could go Sanji, Yamato, Pop, Gain a Life, you know, shenanigans. But yeah, definitely something to keep your eyes on. Because, you know, as we know, some of these super rares can really just get out of hand. So if you're looking to play Enel in OP05, might be worth picking these up. I could see it being like 7, 8, maybe 10, if you have the funds, of course. And then, of course, Katakuri. Katakuri way down. Katakuri hit like $80, and they're like, Red's coming back. And then it was like, oh, you know, Katakuri not tier 0. And so it's sitting around $40, $50. So nice little range there. Great time to pick these up, in my opinion. It's been a little bit since they've been around the same price range, which was in like September. So definitely something to keep your eyes on. Definitely more affordable. Of course, OP03 still fairly available. And we've got Queen. Again, just kind of highlighting why I bought a bunch of the 3 captains deck, because sometimes cards just become expensive. Queen was once relatively affordable, back here at like $10, now at $35. Seeing sales in this range too, being a purple in all the upcoming purple decks. And then, of course, like Gurple playing him, all kinds of stuff. And then just wanted to highlight alternate art Zeph. Some people are playing Zeph in Sakazuki. If you have one of these, might just be worth taking out of the binder just to see what happens. I picked one up just so that way I could have one. Just in case it does get out of hand, but I don't know if there's going to be a ton of movement on this. It did have like a spike, went up to like 30, 35, but it's on his way back down, 26 easy, and still, of course, Pillars of Strength still fairly in stock, so just something to keep your eyes on. And then Tashigi. I wanted to highlight this a couple days ago when I was prepping this video, but it's, of course, gotten out of hand. That's on me. But Tashigi was sitting around 40, sitting around 80. Not any sales at that level, but last sale was 60. Might be worth attending your locals trying to win and pulling one of these Tashigis that they give out winner packs. Because this is, of course, a 4 of in Sakazuki, and people like to do that max rarity, and this is a very nice looking card. Of course, you can also get the regular alts that you get from the participation packs. Also looks just as good. Arguably, it's not foil, but does still have the same art, so it might even be worth looking into those as this becomes fairly unattainable. And then, of course, highlighting the alternate art Uda as well. This card was about $20, did a big spike, came back down. I picked one up at $25 just so I had one in the collection, but now it's sitting at about $42. Again, this card is only really relevant during this brief format. If 9-Beard does not come back, could be relevant, but I just don't think Red Purple Luffy is as strong. But we will really see how things start to shape out. But yeah, I don't know if I would pick this up. And then, of course, I highlighted this in my last video. He has since then been bought out. I think he's a great pickup. I think a lot of people were sleeping on this card / didn't even know this card existed. A lot of collectors have entered. A lot of people have entered the TCG for the first time. I think this is a great card to have in the collection. I do not think he's worth $200 right now, but do just want to highlight this if you have a great opportunity. I know there were some on eBay for relatively affordable in comparison to this. But I do think it's just worth keeping your eyes on. And the last card that I really wanted to mention here is Douglas Bullet. Johnny just topped with RP Luffy and was rocking 2 of these. I've had Douglas Bullet dropped on me. He does have double attack, which is super strong. Speaking from the ace perspective, 10,000 coming at the face with double attack probably hits. And then, of course, you can rest 2 characters, so you can rest blockers, but it's 2 characters with a cost of 6 or less, so you can rest some beasts. Most people don't play characters above like 6, and if they do, it's a 7, but no blocker is going to be above that, so you can rest like anything in your way, connect, and potentially go for game. Absolute behemoth of a card right here. Definitely something to keep your eyes on. There were a couple sales today if you just want to play in this temporary format. Again, I don't think he's good next set, but it just goes to show that some cards can pop up, and with many other cards in the film deck being expensive, it might just be worth picking up a play set or even like 1 or 2 just to have on the side if you've never picked up the deck. But as always, if you found this content of value, if you would consider subscribing to the channel, it means the world to me, and it helps me out a ton. And thank you all so much for watching.